Hi everyone, I'm here in sunny Forest today. It's a lovely 12 degrees this morning, and it's going to be maybe a slightly warm 26 degrees later on today on a training ride in preparation for the doubleheader event I'm doing later on this month for the 100k Otway Odyssey mountain bike ride, and then the following day the 106k Great Otway Gravel Grind 100 big ring ride. And this is in aid of the Danii Foundation and their insulin pump program in the Pedals for Pumps campaign. So today's I'm going to have a go at the 106k gravel ride, and this will probably just be a few segments of that ride, probably me grunting uphill a little bit, maybe being a little bit gripped on the way down. So we'll see how
up
we
and
go.
going in about 8 k's. Up on the right here, it's just a little sign that says the Otway Forest National Park. So we're just going into that now. You can see the road trending up a bit, and we're on Road Night Forest Road, and I haven't ridden this course before. It looks like I rode last year's course before I wasn't able to when I broke my collarbone, and so I think there's more climbing in this course. We basically just, keep riding and riding and riding, big sort of eventually quite uphill, then go downhill and get to Apollo Bay, which is on the Great Ocean Road, the coast of Victoria. And go along the Great Ocean Road for a little bit, fortunately not too long because it's a bit scary, and then turn left and then start coming back to forest. Okay, time to start some panting. So this is Lardner's track, on the way, still on the sort of ascent to the highest point before you descend into Apollo Bay. And I'm not really any good at training for these things. I sort of tend to just use a siege mentality, which is to just ride lots. But one of the things I do, or try to do each ride, is some prolonged periods of riding out of the saddle, and doing this sort of just on a, I guess, moderate gradient. This is like 5%. Because it's a different set of muscles than when you're sitting down grinding away, and can be really helpful, I guess, when you're going up steep hills, or if you're like me, when you've been sitting down too long and your bottom's really sore. You may have also noticed that these are flat bars I have, because this is a mountain bike, so weighs about 14 kilos. Not very much a trail bike, certainly not a XC Whippet, definitely not a gravel bike, so can be more tiring getting up hills, but sort of okay, and works pretty well going down, and pretty grippy, but certainly can be still pretty terrifying watching how fast some very experienced gravel riders go down on their super skiddy tyres. Alas, I've seen about 4 kangaroos, but not managed to catch someone heading on this video. Maybe I'll be lucky later on. So this is quite an early steep descent. Well, not steep, but fast. Might see a kangaroo, or he's going to come home. Trying to get a little bit gripped. Okay, it's just sort of a flat bit, classic Otway's forest. And I guess I just wanted to talk about insulin pumps, why I think the Danii Foundation is so important, why I think it's so important for people with type 1 diabetes, and then why I think the change needs to be that allows access to all those people with type 1 diabetes being able to access pumps without the financial barriers. But I guess a typical example is a young guy I met, 18-year-old with type 1 diabetes since about 12. So, during those formative years of being a teenager, and then you just throw type 1 diabetes into the mix, just makes it that much harder. And so I met him for the first time, and he went from multiple daily injections, which is an injection once a day of a long-acting insulin, and then an injection of quick-acting insulin with each of his meals, over to insulin pump therapy. And that happened about 12 months ago. And I guess it sums it up when I just sort of said, how's it going, and what do you think of the change to going over to a pump? And he just said, this is the best thing I've ever been able to do for my diabetes. It's just been so much better for my everyday experience. And that kind of, I guess, sums up what the possibilities for people with type 1 diabetes for whom they want to use a pump can bring. And that's what the Danii Foundation tries to do, for people who have real challenges with their diabetes, that despite their best efforts experience lots of challenges with particularly low blood glucose levels and how that impacts on their life. The constant grind of type 1 diabetes, but lack the financial means, which is having private health insurance, to be able to access a pump. And that's what the Danii Foundation provides for the people with type 1 diabetes. It's a small charity. They're only able to provide, I guess, several pumps a year. So, but it's run by a wonderful bunch of volunteers, mostly, and the funds that they receive go directly to their pump scholarship program, that then goes to people with type 1 diabetes who are in desperate need of a pump. So that's why I'm doing these 2 rides, and your donations to try to help them out in a meaningful way. Okay, I'm sort of not too far away from the sort of pinnacle of the approach to Apollo Bay, and then get a pretty long descent down to Apollo Bay, sort of, I guess, 50-ish Ks thereabouts. This is just a picture, a view of the Otways that you see. I'm on my way down to Apollo Bay now. Unfortunately, on the one of my most hated road surfaces, which is bluestone, which is like riding on marbles. So certainly not as fast as you can normally rip. And I'll continue a little more when I'm down at Apollo Bay. So I've just come into Apollo Bay now, about 60 Ks, and I'm feeling a little tired, and can't see the beach from here, but I'll take a little bit of footage on the Great Ocean Road and you should be able to see that from the side. Okay, Time to stop for a quick Coke.
Here you go, this is the beach of Apollo Bay. Let's see off there in the distance going around to the right will be sort of the Great Ocean Road, and I'll be on that a little bit before turning left up to Forest.
So this is the Great Ocean Road leaving Apollo Bay. You'll see hopefully the lovely beaches on the side there, maybe, possibly. There we go. There we go, yep. I'm on one of the classic, I guess, ascents, gravel ascents from Apollo Bay on Wild Dog Road. It's usually pretty constant, sort of 5-6% gradient. My legs are relatively tired at the moment. It's at about 70k. I've probably got another 10k of climbing to go. For those who are from the US who might be watching this, so shout out to the Bay Area mountain biking Facebook group. They're incredibly welcoming when I was there in September last year, and really generous with their time and transport. You'll probably see a lot of eucalypt trees here. It's pretty surprising how ubiquitous eucalypt trees are in California. So we'll check in when I reach the high point. Well, that was pretty brutal, and maybe more brutal than I hoped. So pretty much at the high point of the return loop, and now, so it's about 2,000 meters of climbing, and coming up to the big return road, Kangalang, and it's mostly a descent, fortunately. This is going to be certainly tough after 100 k's in the legs the day before. Okay, so this is sort of the last 7 to 10 k's return on Kangalang Road, which is fast gravel. Fortunately, I know this pretty well, so I can go pretty relatively quick. You go up to sort of 50-60 k's on some sections. Set the occasional undulation up. Okay, nearly there. Bit more of the final rip down Kangalang.
Well, 110 k's and 2,200 meters of climbing later, I'm done. That's pretty tiring. I imagine it's going to be more tiring with 100 k's of mountain bike the day before, but we'll see how we go. But thank you for checking out this trail. Feel the highlights, and I'll keep you updated.